Imagine this. You've walked away from someone thinking it's all over. But little did you know, the moment you turned your back, they spilled everything to someone else. What they said? It's not what you'd expect. And now they're drowning in misery because of it. Sounds crazy, right? But in the world of spirituality and human connections, these things happen more often than you'd think. Let's dive into what really went down. After you left, your person, you know, the one you thought you knew so well, they couldn't keep quiet. It's like a dam broke inside them, and all their hidden thoughts and feelings came rushing out. But here's the kicker. They didn't tell just anyone. No, they picked a third party, someone who wasn't directly involved in your story. Maybe it was a friend, a family member, or even a stranger they met at a coffee shop. Whoever it was, they became the keeper of secrets that were meant for your ears. Now, you might be wondering, what could they possibly have said that's so earth-shattering? Well, hold on to your seat, because it's a doozy. Your person revealed things they never had the courage to tell you face to face. Deep, hidden truths that they'd been carrying around like a heavy backpack full of rocks. They talked about the way you made them feel, the joy, the pain, the confusion. They spilled the beans about their deepest fears and wildest dreams, all centered around you. But it wasn't just a simple confession. Oh no, it was like they were painting a picture of you, stroke by stroke, to this third party. They described the way your eyes lit up when you laughed, how your voice sounded first thing in the morning, the little habits you had that drove them crazy in the best way possible. It was like they were trying to bring you to life through their words, making you real to someone who'd never even met you. And then came the bombshell. They admitted something they'd never dared to say out loud before, how much they truly cared for you. Not just liked, not just loved, but a deep, soul-shaking kind of caring that scared them half to death. They confessed how they'd been holding back, playing it cool, when inside they were a swirling mess of emotions. All those times you thought they didn't care. Turns out they cared too much, and it terrified them. But that's not all. They also revealed their regrets, the what-ifs that had been haunting them since you walked away. What if they'd been braver? What if they'd told you how they really felt? What if they'd fought harder for your relationship? These questions had been eating them up inside, and now they were laying them all out for this third party to see. Now here's where things take a turn. You'd think that getting all this off their chest would make your person feel better, right? Like a weight lifted off their shoulders? Well, buckle up, because that's not what happened at all. Instead of feeling relieved, they found themselves sinking into a pit of misery. And we're not talking about a little bit of sadness here. We're talking full on, can't eat, can't sleep, world is ending kind of misery. Why? Because the moment they finished talking, reality hit them like a ton of bricks. They realized that they'd just poured their heart out to someone who wasn't you. All those beautiful, painful, real feelings, and you weren't there to hear them. It was like they'd finally opened the door to their heart, only to find that you'd already walked away. This realization triggered a domino effect of emotions. First came the regret. Why didn't they say all this to you when they had the chance? Then came the fear. What if you never knew how they truly felt? What if you moved on, never knowing the depth of their feelings? And finally, the sadness crashed over them like a tidal wave. The thought of never being able to share these truths with you, of potentially losing you forever because they couldn't open up sooner. It was almost too much to bear. But the misery didn't stop there. Oh no, it was just getting started. Your person began to replay every moment of your relationship in their mind, seeing it all through this new lens of honesty. Every missed opportunity to connect, every time they held back instead of opening up, it all became painfully clear. They realized how their own fears and insecurities had sabotaged what could have been something beautiful. And let's not forget about the third party in all this. Your person had just dumped a truckload of emotional baggage on them, and now they were stuck in the middle. They had to carry the weight of these revelations, knowing how much pain and longing was behind them. It's like being handed a ticking time bomb and told to keep it safe. Talk about pressure. This unexpected outcome left your person in a state of emotional chaos. They were torn between the relief of finally being honest and the crushing realization that it might be too late. They found themselves stuck in a limbo of their own making, too afraid to reach out to you, but unable to move on. Every day became a battle between hope and despair. Hope that somehow, some way, you'd find out how they really felt. Despair that you might never know, that they'd missed their chance for good. The misery began to affect every aspect of their life. Work became a blur of distraction and missed deadlines. Friends noticed they were withdrawing, becoming a shadow of their former self. Even simple joys like their favorite foods or hobbies lost their appeal. It was like the world had lost its color, all because they finally admitted the truth to the wrong person. But here's the real kicker. In the midst of all this pain and regret, something unexpected started to happen. Your person began to change. All those revelations, all that honesty, it forced them to take a long, hard look at themselves. They started to see how their actions, or lack thereof, had contributed to the situation. They began to understand the power of vulnerability, even if they'd learned it the hard way. This misery, as awful as it was, became a catalyst for growth. Your person started to question their old patterns, their fears, their ways of relating to others. They began to see how holding back had not protected them, but had instead cost them something precious. It was like they were going through a spiritual awakening, sparked by the pain of almost losing you. And so, they found themselves at a crossroads, drowning in misery, yes, but also on the brink of transformation. The question now was, what would they do with this new self-awareness? Would they find the courage to reach out to you, to lay their heart bare for real this time? Or would they let fear win again, resigning themselves to a life of what-ifs and regrets? As for you, walking away unaware of all this drama, you've unknowingly set in motion a chain of events that could change everything. Your person's revelations, their unexpected misery, it's all part of a bigger picture, a spiritual journey that neither of you saw coming. The energy between you is far from settled, and the universe might just have a few more surprises in store. So as we dive deeper into this story, remember, in the world of spirituality and human connections, nothing is ever truly over. Every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. And sometimes the most powerful truths come out when we least expect them, shaking us to our core and setting us on a path we never could have imagined. When your person spilled their guts to that third party, They didn't just set off an emotional bomb in their own life. Oh no, they sent ripples through the spiritual fabric of the universe. See, in the grand scheme of things, every action, every word, every feeling we put out there has consequences. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples keep going long after the splash. So what kind of spiritual waves did your person's revelation create? Well, for starters, it shook up the energy between you two. Even though you weren't there to hear it, the truth of their feelings is out there now, floating in the cosmic soup. It's like they've sent a message in a bottle, tossing it into the spiritual ocean. Will it reach you? That's the big question. But it's not just about you and them. The third party who heard all this, they're now carrying a piece of your story. It's like they've been entrusted with a secret spell, one that has the power to change things. And that responsibility, it's heavy. It's got its own kind of spiritual weight to it. Now, let's talk karma. You know, that universal law of cause and effect. Your person's actions, both in holding back their feelings and then spilling them to someone else, that's all going to come back around. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but the universe keeps score. Maybe it'll lead to a big reunion between you two. Or maybe it'll teach them a tough lesson about honesty and timing. And here's something wild to think about. What if this whole situation is part of a bigger plan? What if the universe orchestrated this whole drama to push both of you towards growth and self-discovery? In the spiritual world, there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason, even if we can't see it right away. Now buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting. Remember how your person was wallowing in misery after their big reveal? Well, that misery, it's not the end of the story. It's just the beginning of something totally unexpected. See, all that pain and regret, it's like a pressure cooker for the soul. And under all that pressure, something amazing started to happen. Your person began to change. Not just a little bit, but in big, life-altering ways. First off, they started to see themselves clearly for the first time. It's like they'd been wearing foggy glasses their whole life, and suddenly, everything came into focus. They saw how their fear of being vulnerable had pushed you away. They realized how their own insecurities had sabotaged not just your relationship, but many others in their life. But it didn't stop there. This newfound self-awareness, it sparked a kind of spiritual awakening in them. They started questioning everything, their beliefs, their habits, the way they interacted with the world. It's like they'd been sleepwalking through life, and now they were finally wide awake. And here's the real kicker. They started to change how they treated others. Not just romantic partners, but everyone in their life. They became more open, more honest, more willing to put themselves out there. It's like their heart, which had been locked up tight, was finally cracking open. But wait, there's more. This whole experience lit a fire under them. They started chasing after their dreams, the ones they'd been too scared to pursue before. Maybe they quit that soul-sucking job to follow their passion. Or maybe they finally wrote that book they'd been talking about for years. Whatever it was, they were finally living life full throttle. Now you might be thinking, that's great for them, but what about me? Well, here's where it gets really wild. All this personal growth, all this positive change, it started to shift the energy between you two, even from a distance. It's like the universe was rearranging the pieces on the chessboard, setting up for a move no one saw coming. All right, so we've seen how your person's big reveal led to some major changes. But what can we all learn from this cosmic drama? Turns out, there are some pretty big life lessons hiding in plain sight. First up, honesty really is the best policy. Your person learned this the hard way, but hey, better late than never. Holding back our truths, trying to play it cool, that doesn't protect us. If anything, it sets us up for a world of hurt later on. The spiritual takeaway? Speak your truth even when it's scary, especially when it's scary. Next lesson, timing is everything, but it's also nothing. Confused? Let me break it down. Your person might think they missed their chance with you, that they spoke up too late. But in the spiritual world, there's no such thing as too late. Every moment is a chance for a new beginning. The universe doesn't run on our schedule. It's got its own divine timing. Here's another biggie. Growth often comes from pain. Your person's misery? It wasn't just suffering for the sake of suffering. It was the catalyst for major personal transformation. In the spiritual realm, our toughest challenges are often our greatest teachers. So next time life throws you a curveball, remember, it might just be the universe nudging you towards your best self. And let's not forget about energy. Everything we do, say, and feel puts energy out into the world. Your person's revelation? That was a big burst of energy. And energy never just disappears. It changes form, it moves around, it comes back to us in unexpected ways. The lesson here? Be mindful of the energy you're putting out there. It's more powerful than you might think. Now here's a spiritual truth that might blow your mind. We're all connected. Your person's actions didn't just affect them, or you, or the third party. They sent ripples through the whole universe. Every choice we make, every word we speak, it's like pulling on a thread in the grand tapestry of existence. We're all in this together, whether we realize it or not. Last but not least, the power of vulnerability. Your person thought that keeping their feelings locked up would keep them safe. But it was only when they opened up, even if it was to the wrong person, that real change started to happen. In the spiritual world, vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the key that unlocks our true potential. So, what does all this mean for you? Well, that's the beauty of spiritual lessons. They're universal, but also deeply personal. Maybe this whole situation is pushing you towards your own journey of self-discovery. Maybe it's teaching you about forgiveness or patience or the power of letting go. Whatever the case, remember this. In the grand cosmic scheme of things, nothing is ever truly over. Every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. Your story with this person? It's still being written even now. The universe has a funny way of bringing things full circle when we least expect it. As you mull over these spiritual lessons, take a moment to tune in to your own inner wisdom. What is your gut telling you about this situation? What truths are waiting to be uncovered in your own heart? The answers might surprise you. Remember, we're all students in this great cosmic classroom called life, and sometimes the most profound lessons come from the most unexpected situations. So stay open, stay curious, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Because in the end, that's what this whole spiritual journey is all about. Now that we've uncovered the spiritual lessons in this situation, let's talk about healing. Because let's face it, this whole ordeal has probably left some emotional bruises on everyone involved. But here's the good news. With the right mindset, healing isn't just possible, it's inevitable. For your person, the healing journey starts with self-forgiveness. They've been beating themselves up for not speaking their truth sooner, for revealing their feelings to the wrong person. But holding on to that guilt? It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. They need to cut themselves some slack. We're all human. We all make mistakes. The important thing is that they're learning and growing from it. But self-forgiveness is just the first step. The next part of their healing journey involves radical self-love. All that negative self-talk, all those limiting beliefs that held them back before, it's time to kick those to the curb. They need to start treating themselves with the same kindness and understanding they'd offer to a good friend. Now let's talk about you. Even though you weren't directly involved in the revelation, you're still part of this story. And whether you know it or not, you're on a healing journey too. Maybe you're dealing with confusion, hurt, or unresolved feelings of your own. The key here is to stay open to the process. Don't try to force healing or rush through the emotions. Feel what you need to feel, but try not to get stuck there. One powerful healing tool for both of you? Meditation. Taking a few minutes each day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and connect with your inner self can work wonders. It's like hitting the reset button on your soul, helping you to center yourself and gain clarity on the situation. Another important aspect of healing is practicing forgiveness. This doesn't mean forgetting or excusing hurtful behavior. It means choosing to release the negative emotions tied to the experience, freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. Remember, forgiveness is more for you than for the other person. And here's a spiritual truth that can really help with healing. Everything is temporary. The pain you're feeling now, it won't last forever. The confusion, the hurt, the regret, it's all part of a process. Trust that as you move through these emotions, you're getting closer to peace and understanding. Now let's shift gears and talk about how this whole experience can be a springboard for major personal growth. Because believe it or not, this challenging situation has the potential to be one of the best things that ever happened to both of you. For your person, this is a golden opportunity for self-reflection. They've already started to see themselves more clearly, but now it's time to dig deeper. What patterns in their life led to this situation? What fears have been holding them back from authentic connection? By asking these tough questions, they can start to break free from old limiting behaviors and step into a more authentic version of themselves. One big area of growth for them might be in communication. They've seen firsthand the consequences of holding back their true feelings. Now they have the chance to practice expressing themselves openly and honestly, not just in romantic relationships, but in all areas of life. For you, this situation offers a chance to examine your own patterns too. Are there ways you've been holding yourself back from deep, meaningful connections? Are there truths you've been afraid to speak? Use this as an opportunity to check in with yourself and see where you might have room for growth. Both of you might find that this experience pushes you to set clearer boundaries in your relationships. Knowing what you want, what you're willing to accept, and what's not okay, that's all part of personal growth. And it's the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future. Another area of potential growth: emotional intelligence. This whole situation is like a crash course in understanding and managing emotions, both your own and others. As you navigate these complex feelings, you're building skills that will serve you well in all areas of life. And let's not forget about resilience. Going through tough times and coming out the other side, that builds emotional muscle. Each challenge you face and overcome makes you stronger, more adaptable, and better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. As we wrap up this journey through the spiritual aftermath of your person's revelation, it's time to turn inward. You've heard the story, you've considered the lessons, but now the real work begins. It's time to engage with your own inner wisdom. Take a moment to sit quietly. Close your eyes if you like. Take a few deep breaths. Now ask yourself, what feels true for me in this situation? Don't try to force an answer. Just sit with the question and see what bubbles up. Maybe you're feeling a pull to reach out to your person, to have an honest conversation about everything that's happened. Or maybe you're sensing that you need more time and space to process on your own. There's no right or wrong answer here. The important thing is to tune into your own inner guidance. As you reflect, consider what this experience is teaching you about yourself. Are you recognizing any patterns in your own behavior? Any beliefs or fears that might be holding you back from the kind of relationships you truly want? Remember, your intuition is a powerful tool. That gut feeling, that inner knowing, it's your spiritual GPS. Learning to trust it and follow its guidance is a big part of your spiritual journey. And here's something to keep in mind. Your path forward might not be clear right away, and that's okay. Sometimes the wisest action is no action at all. Giving yourself permission to sit with uncertainty, to not have all the answers right now, that's a form of spiritual growth too. As you continue to process everything we've talked about, be gentle with yourself. This is deep, soul-level work. It takes time, it takes patience, but with each step, each moment of reflection, you're aligning more closely with your true self and your highest path. As we come to the end of this spiritual exploration, let's take a moment to zoom out and see the bigger picture. What started as a shocking revelation, your person spilling their guts to a third party, has turned into a powerful catalyst for growth, healing, and transformation. This unexpected turn of events has set off a chain reaction of spiritual awakening. Your person, drowning in misery at first, found themselves on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. You, even without knowing all the details, have been given an opportunity for deep reflection and inner work. But here's the real magic. This situation, as challenging and confusing as it might be, is actually a gift. It's the universe's way of pushing both of you towards your highest selves. It's shaking things up, breaking old patterns, and creating space for something new to emerge. Remember, in the spiritual realm, there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason, even if we can't see it right away. This experience, with all its twists and turns, is part of your soul's journey. It's teaching you valuable lessons about honesty, vulnerability, self-love, and the power of speaking your truth. As you move forward from here, carry these lessons with you. Let them guide you towards more authentic relationships, deeper self-understanding, and a stronger connection with your own inner wisdom. And who knows? The story between you and your person might not be over yet. The universe has a funny way of bringing things full circle when the time is right. But regardless of what happens next, know this: you're exactly where you need to be on your spiritual path. So embrace this unexpected gift. Let it transform you. Let it open your heart wider than ever before. Because in the end, that's what this journey called life is all about: growing, learning, and becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. Trust the process. Trust your journey. And most importantly, trust yourself. You've got this.